Welcome in everybody to the 49ers podcast. I'm Matt Daniel, as always, joined by my co-host John Gallagher. John, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm living the dream. The players have reported. Training camp is on. It's football season, baby. How good is it to be able to talk football, like real football?
It's great. I'm excited. They're playing together. The team's on the field. It is an exciting time indeed.
Everybody's there, starting to build that chemistry. The hype is swirling. It's an exciting time for football. You can kind of like smell it in the air a little bit, like you're getting ready to actually like watch football again.
Yep.
It's a great feeling. So let's get into news and notes just from around the league in general. First one is 49ers related. Trey Lance signs his contract. We knew he would. He signed a 4-year, $34 million contract. So we kind of figured he was going to sign it. I wasn't worried about it. We do have people like Zach Wilson, who's currently holding out. We were talking about rookie holdouts before the show started. Not really many who have not ended up playing. So it's not really too big of a concern.
Yeah, I've never really seen it become an issue. Unless, we stated, unless you're Jamarcus Russell and you're the biggest bust we've ever seen in the NFL. But like otherwise, I've never seen it become anything to worry about.
Yeah, and then the other one we saw was Drew Lock, who was sat out for a while. But, obviously they both did end up reporting. But, you don't want your rookie. You want your rookie quarterback getting snaps, and building chemistry with his receivers and all that.
I agree with that.
So I'm glad it's not our guy. So that's all that matters. Emmanuel Mosley, Jaquaski Tartt, and Juwan Jennings are all on the COVID list. I don't know if it was a positive test. I don't know if you saw or if they were just near a player. And I don't really know like the vaccination thing. I don't really know what the process is for. I think it's 10 days if you're unvaccinated to be able to come back.
Okay.
Is that I don't know if that sounds right to you.
I'm
pretty sure that's what it is.
I don't know the COVID protocols.
Yeah, I'm not positive on it, but I think that's what it is. I think it's 10 days after a negative test or something. Okay. Either way, the biggest one for me is Juwan Jennings because he missed, all of last year. He didn't really get training camp last year.
Yeah.
And with the wide receiver 3 spot kind of up in the air, because Emmanuel Mosley and Jaquaski Tartt kind of already, especially Jaquaski, have their spots. We've seen them play on NFL football field. So that's really hard for Juwan to be able to have to miss that time.
Yeah. I don't love it, but I just hopefully he's going to be able to come back strong.
For sure. Our Aaron Rodgers reports finally the wait's over. All your fantasy owners can stop worrying.
Yeah, breathe a heavy sigh of relief.
Did you see his press conference?
Yeah,
basically just calling out the whole organization.
Dude, I loved it. Sure. Yeah, no, he wasn't. He was not mincing words. Yeah, but you know what? He's earned it, right?
Yeah.
I think he's earned it.
He said it.
Yeah, he makes the team better. They come there to play with him, to play with that offense.
Right.
Like there's value in knowing your worth, and like he knows his worth, and he's like he understood it and he bargained with it, and he's and he stood strong with it. I'm pro. I'm okay with it.
Like he said, people don't want to go play in Green Bay in the winter. You know what I'm saying? It's not an attractive area for players to want to go play. Unlike, San Francisco, it's not that hard to recruit someone to want to come play in San Francisco.
Come to play in California. You can go to any of the California teams and it's going to
like Miami. Go. Yes. Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers is the reason that anyone goes and plays and wants to go play in Wisconsin in the winter. So,
right.
One more NFC rival is going to be good again. If the Packers are going to go 13-4, 14-3, like they, so we'll probably we play them week 3. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. Deshaun Watson was at practice playing. So he's still, his thing's up in the air. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a little murky. The allegations are still hanging. So I feel like there's another shoe that's going to drop. If none of that does come to fruition, I see him just playing for the Texans this season.
Yeah, I don't see a trade. I think if he does, he probably will end up playing for the Texans.
Because the asking price is so high. I think they want like 3 first-round picks and like why would
a piece.
Yeah, like why would you trade 3 first rounders for this thing that's this player that's got, these sexual assault allegations just hanging in the air, and like, these are actionable items that are going to
Yes.
need to be addressed, and like why would you give up pieces for things you don't know the outcome to yet?
For sure. I don't think there's any world where any trade happens before like all allegations are settled, basically.
Yeah.
You
got to
know,
have all the info out for sure.
for sure. It's definitely too murky of a water for any owner to send. And, I wouldn't want anyone sending 2 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson right now because, that water is way too murky.
It's murky.
It's murky. Don't go swimming in murky waters. That's what they say, right?
Don't do it.
Let's move on to talking about training camp. Day 1. So let's start with wide receiver because that's kind of a position that is pretty up in the air. Kendrick Bourne is gone. Trent Taylor's gone. Those were sort of, our possession, third down guys. Trent Taylor did show a lot of regression towards the end of his time in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But you still need that.
Battling.
You need more than 2, wide receivers.
Yeah.
So who do you look to see to, step up to be able to fill that hole?
In those 3 wide sets? Because like we do run a ton of just 2 wide sets, and then Kittle's in the middle. Like we do that a lot because of how good Kittle is.
Yeah.
So when we need to be in those 3 wide sets, I love Jalen Hurd. Like I'm excited to see him, and I would it'd be my wish or dream hope to see him fill that role. I know that he's just got a little bit of coming back to do. Based on the reports today, it looked like Mohamed Sanu had a little more spring in his step, and it was looking like Mohamed Sanu of old, or I guess young. I don't know how to phrase it
of
for him.
Old, but young,
but when he was younger. So that's exciting because I think he's got a great football head, and he is a possession receiver through and through. Like you throw it to him, he's going to go get it, and I like his veteran leadership. So, but I'm still going to say like I want Jalen Hurd in that number 3 spot.
Yeah, I think every 49ers fan's hope is that it is Jalen Hurd who is able to stay healthy long enough. We've actually seen him, like we saw him in preseason, a game, maybe 2. I don't remember.
A little flashes.
We saw like a little enough to get us excited. So I definitely am hoping that it is Jalen Hurd who's able to stay healthy and be as good as we think he is, because we know how versatile and how dangerous he can be.
He really can.
He just has to stay on the field.
Yes.
As far as Sanu goes, I mean, Jimmy said, that he looks really fucking good or whatever the quote was.
Right.
And Kyle said, like you said, he looks like the old Mohamed Sanu. Devo and Aiyuk both said they were upset when he got cut just because he brings that, like, that uncle mentality, just like what Emmanuel Sanders was able to bring to that locker
dog
room.
mentality. Like Sanu is a gamer.
That too. Yeah. And we have a really young wide receiver core.
Yeah.
Because if you go down the list of these wide receivers, I mean, Devo, Aiyuk, both, really young guys, Richie James, inexperienced, River Craycraft, Juwan Jennings, all those guys are within their first 4 seasons. So having a guy who's been around the block a little bit, seen a little bit more, he could make a pretty big difference in our on our team. And River Craycraft's another guy to mention because he was seen working out with Trey Lance a lot in the offseason.
Okay, just building chemistry.
I mean, he might, be able to fill that Trent Taylor role, as like a wide receiver 4 or something.
I will say if Hurd is like my 1A choice for who's the wide receiver 3, Richie James is probably going to be my 1B because we've just seen flashes. He's pretty quick, man. Like he can do some cool stuff. I just need to see more of it. So I would say those 2 are kind of my favorite.
I would love to see Richie James turn into just like a good slot receiver.
He can, man.
He doesn't really have. Yeah, I think he can too. I don't think anyone is expecting, Richie James to come in and be anybody's wide receiver 1, but he can absolutely, produce for a football team and
like really feast over the middle.
Yeah, and actually help, really help your team. So I think I'm really hoping that Richie James does take that step. We kind of hoped he was going to be that special teams guy that we've needed for a long time.
Yeah.
Didn't really seem like that's going to be what's going to happen with him, but the fact he's still around shows that he is a good receiver. He's not just that special teams guy. So
definitely
shows that the team does believe in Richie James. So something to keep an eye on. Let's move into cornerbacks. So we did mention that Emmanuel Mosley's on the COVID-19 list.
Yeah.
So really we saw Tim Harris Jr. Taking reps at corner. So apparently Kyle said that Tim Harris had such good spring that they just decided to throw him in the first team. I think he was a
Love it.
6th rounder a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been pretty much a practice squad guy for the past 2 years. Do you think that Emmanuel Mosley it's his job when he comes back, or do you expect a full-on battle?
I mean, they might stage it as a battle. I don't think I wish I was there on the field more often, at all.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have a culture of like, yeah, your job, don't worry about it. When you get back, it's all you. Like, I think they'll have kind of a mentality of like, you need to earn your spot. And so like Tim's Patriots. There. Yeah, like Tim's there and he's playing and like he's the guy. I think when Mosley gets back, it's going to be, competition. Like, Tim Harris has been doing this so far for us. Can you match it or beat it? And if you can't, then we're going to rock Harris. But I also don't foresee Emmanuel Mosley being unable to beat him out in a competition. I think he is a stronger cornerback.
Yeah. And I mean, Tim Harris has been around and I mean, you can get better, obviously. I mean, maybe 100%. He has, taken that step. Yeah. I think it is probably, I just think Emmanuel Mosley's the better corner.
Yes.
If anyone were to take it, I would expect Demo or Ambry cool. It's hard to tell. I didn't really see much about cornerbacks. We saw that Jimmy and Lance both had good days. So, I mean, you could see that as maybe the cornerbacks didn't have as good of days.
Yeah. Maybe our cornerbacks are terrible.
Yeah. Maybe our quarterbacks suck. And they'll until the next day where they throw 5 picks and then Jimmy sucks.
Yeah.
It's always one or the other. You can't have both.
Yeah.
But a cornerback, something will be interesting to see because, I mean, Verrett is clearly going to be taking, that cornerback 1 spot, sort of like our alpha. I don't know if he's going to be shadowing. I highly doubt it. It doesn't really seem like that's how our defense
it's not our scheme.
Typically goes.
Yeah.
And then K1 in the nickel. So hopefully our cornerbacks can stay healthy. It's been something that we have had trouble with a lot, clearly, because we drafted a lot of, and in free agency was a big thing for us going out and getting secondary help.
Yeah, I hope. I mean, so now we guys are younger, but there's still injury concerns. I mean, but Niners have injury concerns on both sides of the ball. So, I mean, it's just, we got to cross our fingers.
Yeah. I mean, just getting through the day, just hoping nothing crazy happens with our health. So let's talk a little bit about quarterback. I know we've kind of talked about, the quarterback battle a lot.
Yeah.
Whether or not there is a quarterback battle. I mean, Kyle said there wasn't. I don't believe there is.
Every
I don't, at least for week 1, I think it's Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not every football team, I should say, but most football teams where 2 guys want to play, like there's a battle, like somebody's going to want to win. In the scenario with the Niners, I absolutely think that both of them are trying to play for the starting position. Like Trey Lance knows he was the first round pick. Garoppolo knows that he has also been on this team and taken them to the Super Bowl, or maybe taken them is the wrong word, but he's been a part of the Super Bowl formula. So like, there's no reason for either of them to believe they shouldn't be the starting quarterback. So I think for sure that in itself drives a competition.
Yes. And I definitely think that there will be competition and there will be sort of, making each other better, pushing each other, as it should be, especially, for a quarterback. And I think they both do have that, want to be the best at what they do. Yeah. And I think that the competition is just going to bring out the best in each other. Hopefully Jimmy seems like the guy that would kind of be a mentor in a way. I don't think he's going to be like, fuck you, you're trying to take my job kind of guy. He seems like the guy who's going to embrace him.
If he Brett Favre'd him.
I don't think he'll Brett Favre him. I think
he's going to Brett Favre him either.
Alex Smith him.
Yeah. I think that makes more sense. I mean, because Garoppolo hasn't been like he wasn't the coveted pick and then the franchise guy. He was he was a backup to a great quarterback with the idea that maybe he'll take over. Then he was traded to, kind of a lousy team, but then that team got good. That team kind of got pieces going. So I think he's in a spot where he could do some pretty solid mentoring. Like he's seen Belichick, he's seen Brady, he's been the backup guy, and then he's been the guy. So he's got some perspective.
Yeah.
So like I'm hoping that there is a lot of mentoring and a lot of, just sharing those nuggets of knowledge.
For sure. And Jimmy's been through a lot as a quarterback. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, because he was involved in a big trade. He's been to Super Bowls. He's sat behind Brady. He's sat behind legendary coaches, like you were saying too. So even though Jimmy really hasn't played as much as he has been around football, like he has that, that veteran experience, but I mean, he really hasn't played that much football.
Right.
But he has seen stuff, and you still do. You're always, I feel like, learning the game. I know maybe Tom Brady isn't at this point, but I'm sure Jimmy is still, learning as he goes and, getting better with time. And with the injuries that Jimmy's had, Kyle talked about this. He never really had like a full training camp because, after he tore his ACL, he, wasn't able to participate in full camp the next year. Then we had the COVID year, and then what was the other one? And then he got traded to us at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So really, this is like the first time we're getting like a full season Jimmy at training camp. So
that's pretty exciting. That's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to defense a little bit. Javon Kinlaw suffered a slight setback with his knee while traveling.
Yeah.
I think that this is just because we talked about he had surgery earlier in the year or earlier in the off season. So I think that the elevation might have just swelled his knee up. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I don't really know if that's how it works.
Altitude aggravation.
Yeah. I mean, also, I don't know if he was like flying commercial, but my knees usually hurt pretty bad after a flight. So, and he's tall. I'm 6'3". He's taller than me. So I'm sure my knees are swollen too.
Yep. Same here.
Yeah. So Bosa and Ford both passed their physicals. They were both full participants in camp. I saw Bosa doing squats on his knee. I saw a doctor. He was I think he said he was an ACL doctor. It's on Twitter. So maybe he's a quack. I don't know. He seemed official on his Twitter. He said that when you're doing your test for like after an ACL tear, the test that they like give you to like send you fully back is you just do like your ability to do a full range squat basically. So he said like the video he saw of Bosa doing that said that he's like pretty much fully good to go, and the likelihood of him re-tearing his ACL is now like a lot lower.
Interesting.
So I don't know what you can do with that, but I
get excited.
A lot of people, get excited. I guess that's all you can do. Our defensive line, if it can stay healthy,
our defensive line's mean.
Our defensive line is going to be good again. I've got a good feeling about it. I mean, Bosa, Ford, Samson Ebukam, Javon Kinlaw.
Dude, Armstead in the middle is underrated. Yeah.
Armstead. Yeah.
People don't like Armstead because they played him out of position for so many years. But let me tell you what, that man eats the double and triple team just fine. He makes our other players shine.
And he's been compared to DeForest Buckner his whole career. So
which is unfair. They're
which
different.
Is hard. Yeah, it's so hard to live up to that,
Yeah.
I mean, Steve Young, when he first came in, was constantly being compared to Joe Montana.
Yeah, not fair.
It's not fair because, and like, when he finally got that Super Bowl, he got that monkey off his back, he says, and that's kind of how it is. Obviously, it's different scales. It's not a Hall of Fame quarterback, but
Steve Young didn't really see the field the same way Montana did, but Montana couldn't roll out for a touchdown the same, the way Young did too. Like they both had their strengths. Like not to say that Young was a bad passer. I think he was good, but his athleticism to scramble and be threatening to take that to the house. Like Montana didn't have that. Like Steve Young was an athlete.
Yeah. I mean, that had to have been I feel like it's underrated how difficult that had to have been to be the quarterback to follow up Joe Montana, when with how good Steve Young was, he was able to overcome it, and obviously be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
But I mean, people coming in, Andrew Luck coming back behind Peyton Manning in Indianapolis, I'm sure that was, big. Aaron Rodgers coming behind Brett Favre.
Brady behind Bledsoe.
Living behind those. Fun fact, Drew Bledsoe is from the same hometown that I was from. So
right on.
Nice.
A
little fun fact. No, I mean, obviously he's way older than me, but
Is
I've
there
never
a
met him,
restaurant
but-
in town though with like all his memorabilia?
No, I mean, our high school has like his jersey and
Okay.
stuff, but I mean, I've never met him, but
Okay.
apparently he still owns a house there. I don't know. Who knows? What else? Do you have anything else from camp? I have some notes on my phone from some tweets that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Let's see. From our camp, let's see. No, I think we covered that. We talked about Samson was getting some reps on the outside.
Okay.
Yeah, and I like that a lot.
Me too. I'm really excited about Samson Ebukam.
Right. I think he's going to be a strong piece. Like I'm excited if Dee Ford is healthy and a good rotational piece. I think we're going to see Samson a lot more, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table.
Yeah, for sure. And just the ability to have another guy, to throw in, because before when we had Bosa and Ford, the next guy up was a clear step down, or it was Armstead or Solly T, who's not supposed to be playing on the end.
Not supposed to be there.
So,
right.
Having someone who, I mean, a prime Dee Ford is clearly going to be better than what Bukum could be, but he's still an athlete.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like production wise, I think it could be really similar.
Oh yeah, it could be. And I talked about this earlier on an earlier show. He didn't play just pure edge with the Rams, and here they're just basically putting him in a Dee Ford type of role, just saying, "Go eat that quarterback." Go get him as fast and as hard as you can. And that's really what like his skill set is. So I'm excited for that. Here's one. Devo Samuel said he worked hard on more deep routes this offseason, wants to develop his reputation beyond a catch and run guy. This is from David Lombardi.
Okay.
So that's pretty interesting. I mean, clearly it's something he thinks about because he just kind of get that reputation as a running back.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's definitely a false narrative. I remember I think this was a game against Seattle, and it was like late in the fourth quarter, and Devo makes this catch, like the ball was batted a couple times, and he just like rips it out of the dude's hand.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's not a running back, man. That's
right.
That's a wide receiver.
Excelling at another area of football shouldn't diminish your original position. Like you should, I don't know why, like that's just trying to put a player in a box for no reason when he's a great football player. Like he's a wide receiver that when you ask him to run around and like, look like a running back, he can.
Yes, for sure. I am going to look through some tidbits from camp, see if there's anything specific. Mike McGlinchey.
Yeah.
Something I saw him today.
Looking lean and mean.
Yeah, he's looking like he's put some muscle on. We definitely saw it last year. I mean, I saw plays where McGlinchey was getting like ragdolled, and he's 7'1". Like this man should not be getting, I saw cornerbacks pushing him down. So I think he was trying to work on his speed a little bit and try and, become like a Trent Williams type of tackle where he can move.
Yeah.
And that's just not really, who he is. Mike McGlinchey is more of an, he's a big dude. He's 7'1",
Absolutely.
So I think that, hopefully this weight is going to help him return to because really he was better his rookie year than he was last year.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see what else we have. Yeah, Jimmy seemed loose.
At practice?
He seemed loose. And even in his press conferences, it almost seemed like a different Jimmy.
Yeah.
He like it. Kind of like cool, calm, and collective,
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I think Twitter's kind of blowing up with the QB camp battle, but I think he's going to work.
Yep, that's what you want. And Brandon Aiyuk led all 49ers with 5 catches. No one else caught more than 2 balls. That was per Grant Kahn. So I'm excited
for him.
That's excited. I'm really excited for Brandon Aiyuk. What's your ultimate ceiling for Brandon Aiyuk in his career? Like, give me a player comp.
On the season? Oh, a player comp.
His career.
I don't know.
Like, if everything goes right for Brandon Aiyuk, how good can he be?
He might be able to be what we wanted OBJ to be. You know, like there's
Okay.
a similar speed
like
and route skill set.
It's like lengthiness.
Yeah, but Ayuk's he might just be I gotta get some wood to knock on. I'm saying I'm hoping he's more durable, you know, like that, because OBJ when he's healthy is phenomenal. OBJ when he's on is phenomenal. And Aiyuk kind of showed some pretty cool flashes of, you know, tricky speed, tricky routes, you know, hands that, you know, you didn't see coming. So I think his ceiling comp would be like, you know, what we wanted Odell to be.
Yeah, like healthy Odell.
Yeah.
I mean, and Odell is probably one of the best route runners of all time.
100%.
With, you know, and with his ability to, like, his catch radius mixed with just having great hands in general, which we've seen little flashes of Aiyuk with his, you know, with his one-handed catches and his,
what's
his
Aiyuk,
route running.
What's Aiyuk weigh in at? 2? Is he 210? I don't know if he's 210. That seems more like Devo.
Brandon Aiyuk weighs at 206. So he's not that tiny.
No, it isn't. Is Odell above 200, or is he like he's a 190 guy?
OBJ 5'11".
Yeah, he's a little shorter.
198. So Aiyuk is really bigger.
But they're super close. So 198 and 206.
Yeah, within a few. Aiyuk is 1 inch taller.
Yeah.
So I mean, that
just
would compensate
a little taller,
for that.
a little thicker. I think you know. I'm hoping prolongs the career. But I saw flashes where, like, I don't know if he has the burners like Odell, but Aiyuk certainly has burners.
Yes. I think he's more of just like a football fast. Like his 40 time isn't anything crazy. It's not like Tyreek Hill, but you know, sometimes if you have like that shiftiness and that ability to route run well, it just kind of like makes up for it.
He just leaves them. He leaves people, you know, like, but I don't like, I'd have to look up his 40 time, and I'm pretty sure Odell ran a decent 40 as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think he has the straight up Odell speed, you know, comparison. But in terms of just like skill set, what they can do, you know, just tougher in between routes than most receivers are, and then the speed to kind of just leave people. I think Aiyuk can do that. What about you? Who do you think?
Man, it's tough. Odell is a really good comp. I mean, it's tough because like I want to say Julio, but it's like that's just there's just no.
Because you can't comp to a freak. Julio's a freak. That's a freak monster, man.
Yeah. Like there'll probably never be another Julio. It's like you can't comp Megatron, right?
This is what I'm saying. You can't comp Megatron, Megatron. Comping Randy Moss, I think, is silly. You know, like these are people who were just built differently. Comping Terrell Owens, unless you look like DK Metcalf, is a little strange. Like these are freak monsters. Like they don't. Their comps are different.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. It's tough. Michael Crabtree, you know, because Michael Crabtree wasn't really fast. Michael Crabtree's a little bigger than Aiyuk is, I believe. But
Crabtree didn't have any real burners.
Yeah, but Crabtree was. I'm looking up right now. He was actually pretty slow in comparison to
100%. He's slow.
Even Brandon Aiyuk. So I mean, Keenan Allen is an interesting comp, I think, for Aiyuk, a ceiling.
He's just a little, but it's just a little bigger, a little
smaller, But the thing is, Ayuk's arms are so long. Yeah. His wingspan is. I saw this thing. Brandon Aiyuk's wingspan is only 1 inch shorter than Megatron's, and Megatron is like 6 inches taller than Brandon Aiyuk. So I mean, you can see it. His arms are swinging like he looks like Slender Man out there. He's got some. Yeah. He's got some long ass arms.
Allen's more of a technician, though. That one I would say, because like
he's more of like a possession guy, and that's not really quite
possession tech. Like the way that he routes people up is also just kind of in another tier.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that. So Odell, Allen, these are strong comps.
I mean, we said ultimate ceiling. You know,
it's true.
I mean, a realistic one. You know. I don't know, Cooper Kupp.
Oh, that's still really high.
Cooper Kupp's a solid.
Or like a Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry, yeah. I don't know. I mean, my hope is solid. Wow, Cooper Kupp is not that fast. He ran a 4.62.
That's not how he wins. You know what I'm saying? He makes you think he's doing something, and then he does something else, and then he's open.
So Aiyuk ran a 4.5, which is the 68th percentile. So he's not slow by any means.
No, I like 4.5.
And then Devo, you can't really comp him. He has there's just nobody like really that does it the way that Devo does it.
I think some players got drafted this year that are going to be asked to do kind of the Devo stuff, like Amari Rodgers, Rondale Moore. Like I think they're going to be asked to do these end around things.
It's kind of like a new category. We're almost saying like a new category of football. I mean, obviously with like the gunslinger Pat Mahomes types, but also in like the offensive schemes that we saw, like the Rams have a lot of success with McVay. And then Kyle came in and does a similar, like a lot of movement, a lot of complex stuff, bringing in guys, using them ways you wouldn't normally use them. So you have guys like, a Jalen Hurd, who's, obviously a bigger version, but was a former running back, sort of like I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to run through you type of guy. Rondale Moore, Amari Rodgers.
Yeah. Like if Hurd can be our Visca Chenault, oh man, because like that's I think Visca might be a little thicker, but like that's a similar skill set and role that they've both done.
Yep. One thing we haven't really had in a long time is a big, like, just jump ball wide receiver, because we've had like in recent memory, I mean, Crabtree, is that the closest thing we've had? I mean, we had Moss, but he was way out of his prime.
I was gonna say Anquan Bolden was our last like true gonna catch the ball with his vice grip hands and then run through someone's face.
Yeah, but his was like Anquan, you said. Bolden. Me too. His was more just because his hands were literally like
vice grips.
You know what I mean? Like he could lift a truck with those hands.
Those hands. Yeah, I want them tested for tensile strength, or however much pressure they can apply. Yeah, like his hands were unreal. The way that they would the way that footballs would stop moving, like once they touched fingertips, like and then just in these grips, it was awesome. And then he would just go run through somebody,
or it would be caught at the same time as a defender, and he would
he'd take the hit, catch the ball. Yeah, they're like, how do you do that? How do you? Yeah, how are you not rattled everywhere?
Yeah, but I'm really curious what it was. What it was about his hands. Like, was it just pure grip strength? Did he have bigger hands than normal?
I don't know. I don't know. They were just fucking ready. They were ready to catch everything coming his way.
And I think AJ Jenkins, we drafted him hoping he would be something like that, something like a big guy, wide receiver one.
Yeah, never panned.
Hopefully.
We've also not had that friendly of like wide receiver offenses. I mean, back then we had Greg Roman for a while, like, and then we had this, carousel of bad coaching where like our offense just wasn't that great overall. Like now we have a cool offensive minded coach, and our offense does some pretty innovative things. It's fun to see now that we've drafted some athletes. Aiyuk is an athlete. Devo is an athlete. So. Them in this scheme, I think, should be a lot of fun.
And like you said, with a lot of the times when your coaching is so bad, passing is a lot more like it's a lot more difficult to scheme a successful pass game. I mean, in the old Jim Tom Sula days, this guy wasn't finding ways to get wide receivers open. He was just like, just run it,
not get blown out.
If I run the ball more, the game will end faster.
Game will end sooner. I get to go home.
And I won't lose by 40.
Yeah.
And I remember there were games we were losing. The game was over in the second quarter. Like we were bad. Like worse, like bad.
I think if somebody told him he was allowed or like he could take a knee at starting after the second half, after every third down, he would have.
Yeah. Like if it was like
get it over with.
If it was socially acceptable to just like forfeit at halftime, that probably would have been. Like the only reason we weren't forfeiting was just purely based on like we don't want to look like quitters, essentially.
Right. But it was a lost season, and then we had a slew of lost seasons when we just couldn't figure out the coaching situation, and then the cap, Kaepernick is he's our guy, he's not our guy, and then we just getting blackballed, like just a bunch of distractions, bunch of bad coaching.
Yeah, and I want to remind 49ers fans because the reason we talk about this. We need to be thankful for what we have right now because Kyle Shanahan is the best coach we've had since. I mean, Harbaugh's the only one who's even in the same league as Kyle Shanahan as a head coach.
Since Harbaugh,
and I actually just tweeted this out the other day because I saw an old memory, and they were talking about the camp battle between Blaine Gabbert and Colin Kaepernick, who was going to win the starting job. Now we're arguing Jimmy G versus Trey Lance. That is
good problem.
A good ass problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll take that all day, every day.
Yeah.
All of our battles in camp are just like, corner is really kind of, I feel like I view it as our weakness a little bit, but it's still nothing like, not a ton of that. It's nothing like, what are we going to do? Like, we're scrambling to field a team.
Yeah.
It's who's going to give us the best chance to win a Super Bowl right now.
Right.
Not tomorrow. Who's going to help us win today? And that's just like, warms my heart.
It's great. Yeah, this is what you want to root for your team and see how they're playing on the field. It's hard to root for your team where you see so many other places like, well, fuck, we're not even ready. Like, we can't even go compete. And like that is not the state of the Niners anymore.
No.
And this is a competitive team.
It's so much easier to be a fan, when you go into every season knowing that you have a legitimate chance at winning the Super Bowl. Even if it's, seems less than other times. Like right now, I legitimately think we could win the Super Bowl this year. And it's just, it's so much easier to.
Concern. I think
health is literally our only concern in my opinion.
Like that. Otherwise, if the players we have can take the field and go play the other teams that can take the field, there's not a lot of scenarios where I think we lose. Like I don't know. I don't think that's too much homerism just because I saw it. I saw this roster. Minus Richard Sherman, I guess, but I saw this roster, take the field consistently and beat teams that everyone else thought was going to beat us, prior to that season start. So if this team can take the field and stay healthy, play these games, I see that repeating. I don't see any reason why that these players that looked dominant and then dominated and then got injured and couldn't dominate won't continue to dominate when they return.
For sure.
Yep. I saw too much data. I saw it.
Seen it. It's there's the only thing standing in our way is our own bodily health, pretty much.
Bodily health,
our own execution. The skill level is there. We've all seen it. Our team is not that different from 2019.
Right.
I mean, take away Buckner, Quan, who, was off, who missed most of that season anyways.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
really, and Sherman.
I did like him. I
did like him too. Yeah, but I mean, I like Dre Greenlaw. So
yeah, and like it's strange to me when people talk about the DeForest Buckner move and then fail to mention the signings that we were then able to have afterwards. Like I understand Buckner was great, but this is a football team. I loved DeForest Buckner, but you got to pay more than one person. And that we were at a time where like there were deals coming up and we had to get, other people needed to get paid.
You got to pay them. That is going to do it. We are out of time. Thanks everybody for coming and listening. Talking about training camp next week. Let's see what we got. We're only 2 weeks away from our things to watch for preseason. So in 2 weeks, we'll be talking about our first preseason game. So I'm super excited to get to watch 49ers again.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, I'm hyped. So we will see you guys next week.
You guys take it easy.
Sounds like football, baby.